Virgo, welcome to your astrology reading for the month of October. So before I jump into the energy of the month, we do have a lot more happening in October. This is going to be most applicable for your rising sign, which is the sign that rules your first house. It's how other people perceive you, especially when they first meet you. It's still applicable for your sun sign, which is how you express yourself, and then also your moon sign, which is how you internally process everything. And so listening to all three really kind of gives you that holistic picture on how the month is going to play out. I'm just going to jump right into the energy of the month. We do have some major transits happening, but right away we have an eclipse. So we have the new moon. This is the annual solar eclipse in the sign of Libra on October 2nd at 2:49 in the afternoon Eastern time. And so with any new moon, maybe I'll talk about the eclipse here for a second. So eclipses are fated points in the sky. So they're mathematical calculations, but these are destiny. These are fated points. We are exiting out of the Aries Libra eclipse season. We are transitioning into the Pisces Virgo. We saw that a couple of weeks ago, where on the 17th of September, we had our first catch of a lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. It was a really positive one there. So I'm kind of looking forward to the next round of eclipses. And this one here is kind of starting to really close us out. So we do have this new moon. So the sun and the moon at the same degree point in the sky. So there's complete overlap of the energies. For you, this is sitting in your house of personal finances. This would be a lot of balancing your finances, feeling very balanced about your finances, maybe your spending habits versus your savings habits. All of that, what you value, is part of the second house energy. It's also going to, during this new moon, the sun and moon will conjunct Mercury in Libra. So you're going to have very balanced conversations about the money that you have. This would be the money that you have. It's not the money that's coming in from an outside source or the debt or anything else. This is really truly about what's in your bank account. What investments do you have? What do you have that's of value here? Like, do you have collections of some sort that have some sort of monetary value against them, something like that? And so love to see all of this, because this could also indicate that maybe you're talking to a financial advisor around your personal finances, and something that's very balanced, aligns with what you want here. The only kind of challenge here would be this sun and moon in Libra square Mars and Cancer energy. And so Mars in Cancer for you is sitting in your house of friendships. And so this just indicates to me that you're very focused on your personal finances, the money you have, and it's creating obstacles or challenges. So if you wanted to take some sort of action with friends, like go somewhere, spend some money, this is what would be that kind of friction point, that obstacle or challenge. You can certainly work with the energy. You just have to find a way to balance it out. And then we have Venus trine Mars. And so I don't usually grab other transits. I usually focus on kind of the major changes that are happening during the month. Otherwise, these videos would be forever long, and I don't want to record them and you don't want to hear it. So anyway, Venus trine Mars. I like when Venus and Mars kind of interact just because of their connection. Venus likes to bring things together. Mars likes to bring things apart. It likes to separate things. It's very action oriented, where this is harmony and balance, and let's find some sort of compromise. And so with this energy, we've got Venus in Scorpio. That is in your third house of communication. We've got Mars in Cancer in your 11th house of friendships. And so Venus in Scorpio, these would be very deep, intense connections sitting in your house of conversation and communication. And so it would be very intense, deep conversations that you're having with other people, the way that you're understanding everything that's taking place. That could be an internal part that is part of that third house energy. Mars in Cancer. So when you think about the actions that you want to take with your friends here, this is going to easily flow with whatever's happening. So these could be deep, intense conversations connected to your friends, what you really want to achieve here. But it's not just Mars and Cancer. So we actually have a solid triangle happening here. We've got Venus in Scorpio, we've got Mars in Cancer. We also have the Pisces energy. So we have Saturn and Neptune in the sign of Pisces that are also part of this. This is an easy blend of energy. They're all talking to each other, having really harmonious conversations, easy flow here. And so when it comes to Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, they're sitting in your 7th house of significant other, marriage if you're married, those type of relationships. And so this is a lot of maybe deep conversations with your significant other. This would be deep conversations that you might be having with friends, action that you want to take with your friends, and how does that kind of age your relationship with your significant other? And love to see it, because Neptune is really focused on what is your ideal relationship here with your significant other, and Saturn is about you putting the work in to achieve that ideal relationship, to have that kind of ultimate goals with that person. And so love to see this kind of easy blend of energy. The only one during this Venus trine Mars that's a little bit difficult to work with is Venus in Scorpio will be opposite Uranus retrograde in Taurus. And so Venus in Scorpio, again, those deep, intense conversations that you're having, it's going to be opposite any kind of internal change happening for your growth. And this just indicates to me that right now the focus seems to be on this triangle, on kind of your emotions right now, what's really going to work for you with this, because it's all 3 water signs. So it's all about your emotions at this point, versus maybe taking some sort of grounded, practical change meant to kind of grow you in a different direction. And then on the 9th, we have Jupiter stationed retrograde in the sign of Gemini. And so this one here, Jupiter is one of the 2 benefic planets. Venus is the other one. But Jupiter is more benefic. It's considered the most benefic planet. It's actually been at its weakest point in the sign of Gemini. And now, so the abundance connected to Jupiter, maybe a little bit stunted, not as progressive as it would want to be, not as generous with its expansion as it normally is. What's happening here is all that kind of growth and expansion that you saw outward, it's now all being directed inward, because that energy is now shifting. It's going to kind of slow things down, have you really reflect internally on your growth and expansion in your career. That's where it's impacting you. It's in your 10th house of career. But this will trine the sun in Libra. And so when you think about your personal finances and all the balancing that's happening within your personal finances, your internal reflection on your career, what you want to grow within your career, easily flows with whatever financial goals you've set for yourself, whatever balance that you found in that area of your life. This Jupiter retrograde in Gemini will also trine Mercury in Libra. And so it's going to fully align here with whatever conversations that you're having around your finances, your financial security, your investment goals, your spending, savings, all of those things. It's going to align with whatever you're thinking about from growing your career standpoint. And this Jupiter in Gemini will sextile Chiron retrograde in Aries. And so Chiron in Aries, we'll talk about the retrograde here in a second, but there is some sort of wound. This wound, because it's sitting in your 8th house, this could be the money that you earn from an employer. Very clearly connected to your career. This could be connected to any kind of transformation, so death and rebirth. It could be connected to power and control issues, intimacy issues too, but probably less so. Probably more the debt that you have, the money that you earn from an outside source, your job, things like that. Just because of where this is all taking place, you've got that Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, so your internal growth plans in your career, it's creating some sort of opportunity for you to heal the wound that you have maybe around your financial security. That's actually going to show up here a couple of times in the month. There's a lot of, and we saw it with the new moon in Libra, a lot of financial connection, a lot of career connection. So really significant here. But it's giving you an opportunity. You would have to take some sort of action here. This Jupiter retrograde in Gemini will square Saturn retrograde in Pisces. And so when you're thinking about the internal growth that you want to experience within your career or public reputation, it's going to create obstacles or challenges to the work that you're doing to have that ideal relationship with your marriage partner or significant other here. And it's going to be the same thing. Jupiter retrograde in Gemini will also square Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And really what this is coming down to is the focus is on your career, seems to be focused on your finances as well, and maybe a little bit less on going after and working towards that ideal relationship. But what we're going to see is, depending on where we are in the month, ebb and flow. This is all going to ebb and flow. It just seems like maybe today the focus is on your career, because then we also see this Jupiter retrograde in Gemini will be opposite the moon in Sagittarius. The moon in Sagittarius is sitting in your 4th house of home. And so career, home life, you can kind of already see where the dichotomy is here. You just have to work with the energy. So when you think about this internal growth, what do you want to grow in your career? It's very different than how you see your home life and how you want that to play out. And then we have Pluto stationed direct in the sign of Capricorn on the 11th at 8:32 p.m. Eastern time. This one is also really significant because what's been happening here is we had Pluto in Capricorn, then it moved into Aquarius, then it stationed retrograde in Aquarius, moved back into Pluto, now we're going direct, and then next month it goes back into Aquarius, where it will be for the next 20 years. So this is literally closing out a cycle that we will not see again in our lifetime. Pluto in Capricorn is all about the structures that you've put into place. Pluto sits in a sign for a very long period of time. This is something that's been building over time. So whatever structures you've put into place, you're being given another opportunity to make some modifications here before you move forward, before we start going into Aquarius energy again. And so Capricorn at this stage has now already learned some things from the Aquarius energies, already learned liberation and what does that mean, and be a little bit flexible in the plans that you set for yourself and the strategies that you figure out, the structures that you create. You don't want all of this kind of rigidness that kind of prevents you from really moving forward. And so Pluto in Capricorn is sitting in your 5th house. So these would be changes and structures connected to children, hobbies, short-term relationships, if you're in those or just only want those instead of a marriage type of partner. But what this is about is really those kind of structures and the changing of the structures that are taking place. This one's positive. It's going to conjunct the moon in Aquarius. And so when you think about what do you want your ideal life to look like? What kind of flexibility are you looking for in your daily life? That's going to fully align with whatever modifications that are happening with children, with your hobbies, whatever it is that's in your house of fun, the things that you do outside of work that you enjoy doing. And so this is a really positive kind of last glimpse of Pluto in Capricorn, or last stint of Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto in Capricorn is also going to trine Uranus retrograde in Taurus. And so when you think about what changes have been taking place that are meant to help you grow in a very practical, meaningful way, the changes that you're going to make related to children, related to your hobbies, again, easily flow with that kind of energy. Pluto in Capricorn is also going to create an opportunity here for you to have that ideal relationship that you want with your significant other, your marriage partner. So when you think about children, and if you're married, how does the changes that you're taking with those structures, any kind of transformation that's happening with the way that you interact with your children, and how does that align with you having that ideal relationship that you're looking for? Pluto in Capricorn will square Mercury in Libra. And so these changes that are taking place with your children, with your hobbies, it's going to create obstacles or challenges to maybe having those kind of balanced conversations as they relate to your personal finances or your financial security. But it's more of the emphasis here is on Pluto in Capricorn. Let's get the structures right, and then let's figure everything else out. Pluto in Capricorn will also square Chiron retrograde in Aries. And so when you think about that wound that's been coming to the surface, and because Chiron is retrograde, it's not a wound that's beneath the surface. It is definitely front and center for everybody to kind of address. Where you saw it impacting your house of the money you already have, you can also see it impacting the house of the money that you earn, or maybe the debt that you take on. And maybe there's something here connected to your children. Maybe you're putting them, I'm just going to make it up, in private school, and that's going to have an impact on your personal finances and the money that you earn. And what it's doing here is it's creating some sort of imbalance in your personal finances, the money you have, and it maybe isn't allowing you to heal that maybe financial insecurity wound that you might have. And so where you're not able to save as much money that you earn because you're now spending more towards your children in school or something along those lines. And so that would be a square energy. It's just an example of how that could play out. Definitely energy you can work with. We also have Pluto in Capricorn opposite Mars in Cancer. And so these changes that are happening with the structures around your children, they're going to create, it's a push-pull energy here with that Mars in Cancer. So when you want to take some sort of action with your friend, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because of the changes that are taking place when it comes to your children or your hobbies, those kind of structures in your life. And then on the 13th, we have Mercury enter the sign of Scorpio. So that's going to happen at 3:24 in the afternoon Eastern time. And so when Mercury enters the sign of Scorpio here, this is those deep, intense conversations that are taking place. This is in your 3rd house of conversation and communication. So really understanding everything on a very fundamental, very deep level. And so this is a very transformative kind of energy. It will be conjunct the sun in Libra. And so when you're thinking about your personal finances and balancing out your personal finances, this feels like Let's make some changes. Let's have some real conversations around financial security, balancing out spending habits versus savings habits. What needs to kind of give here, because there is transformation kind of underneath the covers during this entire conversation. Mercury and Scorpio will trine Moon in Aquarius. So how you feel about your daily life, that kind of liberation in your daily life, that I don't need to be so structured. Let me focus on the collective type of daily life here. Mercury and Scorpio. Let's have these kind of conversations, these deep, intense conversations, because I like where this is going. I like how this makes me feel. I like how this is playing out in my daily life. That kind of energy. We do have Mercury and Scorpio trine Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. And so these deep, intense conversations that are taking place are also going to easily flow with the way that you want to grow and expand your career. Whatever it is that you're trying to internalize, whatever you're trying to do to achieve those results, easy blend here. We also have Mercury and Scorpio square Pluto and Capricorn. And so these deep, intense conversations, they're going to create obstacles or challenges here to any kind of changes that are happening connected to your children, connected to your hobbies, whatever that structure is that you're trying to put in place, or whatever changes you're in kind of the process of making. It's just more of right now where I see the positive aspects are connected to money and your daily life, and maybe the less emphasis on doing things with your friends or doing things with your children right now. It's kind of like, let me focus on getting this part of my life correct before I kind of move over here. And maybe correct's not the right word, but let me get this kind of where I want it to be before I focus on other areas. And then on the 17th, we have the full moon in the sign of Aries. So that's going to happen at 7:26 in the morning Eastern time. And more energy around your finances, because we have the sun in Libra. So balancing out your personal finances, the money that you already have, versus moon in Aries, taking some sort of action. I feel like I need to do something here connected to the money that I earn, maybe pay down some debt, take out another mortgage, whatever it is that is part of this 8th house. Could be your spouse's income if you are married. And so this is where you're getting that push-pull. And just like what we see with all the full moons, the sun will have some conversations, the moon will have different conversations with the planets here. And so the sun will be opposite Chiron retrograde in Aries. And so if you do have some sort of financial wound, some sort of insecurity connected to the money that you make, the money that you bring in, the debt that you have, something around kind of that outside source of money, the sun in Libra is going to be opposite this energy. So whatever you're doing right now to balance out your finances is not giving you an opportunity to take additional action here to heal that wound. But how you feel about the money that you earn, or the action that you take to earn money here with that moon in Aries, it's going to fully align with healing that wound and taking some sort of action to heal that wound. We do have the sun in Libra trine Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. And so when you feel, however you feel about your personal finances, that balanced energy easily flows with whatever internal growth you're looking for when it comes to your career. And this is a really positive one, and the moon is going to have the same type of energy. The balancing of your personal finances versus growing your career, easy blend. The moon in Aries is actually going to create an opportunity for you to really reflect more on what you need to do to grow your career. This moon in Aries, okay, I'm taking a lot of action as it relates to the money coming in or the money that I'm paying, and it's going to create an opportunity here for me to take additional action that would allow me to grow, something along those lines in your career, specifically in your career. And then we do have the sun in Libra in your 2nd house, square Mars in Cancer. And this is actually going to form a T-square. So this full moon will T-square Mars in Cancer, which just means how you feel about your finances, that balancing of your personal finances, feeling like you need to do something else in the money that you earn, the money that you pay towards other people, things like that. They're both going to create obstacles or challenges to taking any kind of action with friends. So if you've been planning, let's say, a trip with friends, or you want to do something that requires spending money, you can kind of see where the friction is going to come into play, where the obstacles and challenges exist, because you're trying to balance out your finances. You're doing something with the money that you earn, and maybe now's not the time to spend money with your friends or do something along the lines that requires spending money. We do have another T-square here. So that sun in Libra, moon in Aries will both square Pluto and Capricorn. So when it comes to making changes in the structures surrounding children, surrounding your hobbies, how you feel about the money you already have. So that balancing of your finances versus taking some sort of action to maybe increase the money that I earn, pay down some of this debt here. It's going to create obstacles or challenges to the structures that you're putting in place with kids. And the one I keep going back to because it's the one that feels the most relevant would be maybe paying for additional education for your children or putting them into some sort of private school instead of public school. And so that would, you can kind of see where it's creating some sort of friction, obstacle, or challenge. It doesn't align with my financial goals, but you've already decided this is something that you want to do for your children. So you can find a way to make it all work. It just does require effort on your part. And then the same day as this full moon, we actually have Venus enter the sign of Sagittarius. So on the 17th at 3:29 in the afternoon Eastern time, that's when Venus enters Sagittarius. But I really love this energy. And so Venus in Sagittarius for you is in your fourth house of home. And Venus is likes to bring things together. It likes harmony. It likes balance. Let's focus on what we value, what we want. And then you throw Sagittarius into the mix, and it's a lot of optimism. There's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of seeing the big picture here. And so this kind of fun-loving, energetic home life, it's going to easily blend with this Mars in Cancer. So whatever actions you do want to take with your friends, this is one of those transits that's going to bless that and say, okay, well, I'm really enjoying everything that I'm doing at home. Maybe trine Mars in Cancer, you want to take some sort of action that maybe brings your friends into your home environment and maybe bring the fun there and bring people together in that way, because that would be Venus type of energy. Easy blend, nothing you need to do here. And then we do have Venus in Sagittarius, trine Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so when it comes to that ideal relationship that you're looking for, your marriage partner, if you're married, that significant other, this kind of fun-loving home environment, bringing people together, it's easily going to blend with whatever your relationship goals are, whatever that ideal relationship is for you. Venus in Sagittarius will sextile Pluto in Capricorn. And so whatever you're doing in your home life, whatever fun you're bringing things together, it's going to create some sort of opportunity to continue making changes as it relates to children or your hobbies, because it is going to sextile. So this is creating an opportunity where you have to actually do something about it. It's just not going to organically happen. This Venus in Sagittarius will be opposite Uranus retrograde in Taurus, which means all this fun that you're having at home, it's going to be opposite any kind of practical changes that are taking place that are meant to help you grow and expand. Uranus, that's those sudden changes. And so you can kind of see where I'm really trying to bring things together in my home life, and these other changes are taking place. And so you can kind of see where that push-pull is happening. And then on the 22nd, we have the sun enter the sign of Scorpio. So this is going to happen at 6:15 in the evening Eastern time. And so when the sun enters the sign of Scorpio, Scorpio again is in your house of communication. And so this is a lot of the way that you're expressing yourself, a lot of you coming across differently, expressing yourself differently. This is something that you feel like you need to do. Your sun sign, it's that sun energy, sun sign kind of link here where your sun sign is what you need in order to feel fulfilled in this life. And with the sun in Scorpio, the way that you're expressing yourself right now is the way that you need to express yourself right now. This is something that is going to make you feel better about yourself. You are going to be expressing yourself differently, and that's going to easily blend with whatever internal growth that you want connected to your career. This will trine Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. And so when you think about that from a growth and expansion, easy blend of energy. The sun in Scorpio will square Pluto in Capricorn. And so when you think about the structures that you're putting into place, the changes that are happening as they relate to your children or your hobbies, the way that you're expressing yourself right now, because it is coming across very different, it is creating challenges to those changes that are already in place or are kind of in process of being changed, but it's an energy you can work with. The sun in Scorpio will square Mars in Cancer. And so Mars in Cancer is in your 11th house. This is your house of friends. And so when it comes to not just the changes happening with your children, but any kind of action that you want to take with your friends here, the sun in Scorpio indicates that you're communicating in a way that's different. And so it's creating challenges to maybe taking some sort of action related to your friends. And it might be just the content of the conversation is different. Maybe you're not ready to spend money or do something else with your friends right now. This sun in Scorpio will be opposite Chiron retrograde in Aries. And so when you think about the way that you're expressing yourself right now, because it is different, it is going to be opposite healing any kind of wound. This doesn't necessarily have to be a financial wound. This could be connected to intimacy or power and control issues. Power and control issues feels really significant right now, because if you're communicating in a way that is very different than what you've done in the past, it can maybe prevent you from healing a wound connected to this. Maybe there's something where power and control issues, somebody's trying to, or maybe somebody has try to control you in some sort of way, through money, through other ways like that. And so it's an opposition energy. It's a push-pull type of energy. You can certainly work with it. You would just have to find that balance. And then at the end of the month, we have Mercury trine Neptune, and I really love this energy. This one is on Halloween, on the 31st at 8:33 p.m. Eastern Time. Mercury is the planet of communication. Scorpio is in your house of communication. And so these are more of those deep, intense conversations again. And just like we saw earlier, this is going to trine Neptune in Pisces. It's going to trine Mars in Cancer. So all three of these energies are really talking to each other. You're having deep, intense conversations with your significant other, having and really going after that type of relationship that you want. It's allowing you to take some sort of action as it relates to your friends. All easy flow of energy here. I am seeing this Mercury in Scorpio sextile Pluto in Capricorn. Neptune is actually going to do the same thing. And so when it comes to the structures or the changing structures related to your children or your hobbies, things like that, these deep, intense conversations that you're having create an opportunity for more change in those structures. It allows for just maybe modifications, getting clear on exactly what this is, because we do have Pluto that is about to move back into the sign of Aquarius. And so again, we're really at the final days of that now. And this Neptune retrograde in Pisces, sextile Pluto in Capricorn, same energy. It's going to create some sort of opportunity. You having that ideal relationship with your significant other, your marriage partner, that person is also going to help you create that relationship. It's also going to help you create an opportunity to maybe make additional changes here when it relates to children or hobbies, things like that. Mercury in Scorpio is also opposite Uranus retrograde in Taurus. So these kind of deep, intense, transformative type of conversations, they're going to be opposite other changes that are taking place that are meant for your practical growth. Again, kind of thinking back, we're very focused on your emotional well-being right now and what is happening there, versus anything that is kind of grounded and practical that is meant to help you grow in the physical sense. And so you can kind of see where that would create an issue, but again, you can work with the energy. We do have Neptune in Pisces, sextile Uranus, retrograde in Taurus, which just means that ideal relationship that you have or that you're trying to employ here. It's going to create an opportunity for more changes to take place that will help you grow. It's almost like this person is aiding in your growth. You just need to kind of lean on that relationship, because it is an opportunity. You would have to take some sort of action here. And then we have Neptune retrograde in Pisces, square Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. So this ideal relationship and what you're working on from a relationship standpoint, it's going to create some sort of obstacle or challenge to the way that you see yourself growing in your career. This is something that you can work with. It's a square energy. It's like a Saturn type of energy where you just have to put the effort in to make it real, but you certainly can. It's not out of the realm of possibility at all. You can find that way to make it all work. So Virgo, this is your reading. I hope it resonates. If it did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care.